Well, this was a crazy day, right? Right? Yeah, it was. Let's talk about it.
You got a team, here's a word to the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to football, guys.
Football, I'm living in a fantasy. Football, got everybody mad at me. Football, cause every game I had to win. Football, I gotta be a champion. Football, I'm living in a fantasy.
First off, programming note. I hope you all weren't waiting too long. It's we always go an hour after the Broncos finish. And oh, what a finish the Broncos had. We'll get to that in a little bit. But let's start in London. Is this a final London game? I think. And then they have some Madrid games or whatever. But either way, it's Rams and it's Jaguars. And, well, I'm using air quotes when I say it was a game because it's 35-7. Now, the Rams are 5-2. Jacksonville is 4-3. And Stafford gets 5 of them things. Oh, boy. 3 of them to Devontae Adams. 5 for 35 and 3 touchdowns. 1 to Terrence Ferguson. 1 to Kanata Mumfield there as well. Colby Parkinson with 3 for 47 to lead the way as a receiver. 12 for 54 on the ground for Kyron Williams. 12 for 37 for Blake Corum. Will be interesting talking about that. But let's talk about the Rams getting this big one and, well, making it look really, really easy.
Yeah, Cecil, at this point in the season, we can probably say there are like 8 real teams in the NFL or so, give or take. The Rams are one of them. The Rams are definitely one of them. And we go into this game wondering, without Puka Nacua, what's it going to look like? You plug Jordan Whittington in. No. Arthur Smith is a hot head coach candidate right now, huh? So Sean McVay says, let's go 3 tight ends. Comes out with 3 tight ends, something the Rams never do. Which is great to see, because it just shows you that he looks at his personnel, he looks at the matchup, adjusting to absences. So, and Matthew Stafford, the first quarterback ever to have 5 touchdowns in an international game. And this Devontae Adams gets 3 short touchdowns. Was not a great game for Kyron Williams as far as fantasy goes. Blake Corum gets the mop-up duty. But Kyron Williams has had a really good first half of the season, fantasy season, and this offense is doing so good. Stafford's doing so good. He's had an incredible 3 out of the last 4 games. Only the wind in Baltimore slowed him down. So this team goes into the bye feeling like, yeah, they are very much in a Super Bowl window.
Yeah, very much in a Super Bowl window, and go get it. What is Jacksonville? You know what I mean? 4-3. Now Travis Hunter gets his first touchdown and 800 for 101. So there you go. Travis Etienne with 44 yards. Parker Washington with 4 for 52. Giammi Brown 2 for 50. Brian Thomas 3 for 31. Leading back to Trevor Lawrence almost getting 300, 296 and 1 touchdown. No INTs, but sacked 7 times. So we know the Rams are a Super Bowl contender, and in the hotly contested AFC now, what is Jacksonville?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it isn't often that we have a team going into the bye 4-3 and we think lots of questions. They were 4-1, should have been 5-0. Remember, they lost to Jake Browning, coming off of that win against Kansas City. and now, this is a team, Cease, where what are they? You nailed it. What are they? I mean, even their defense, we say, what is their defense? Which was opportunistic, not so much in this game. Drops, penalties, and yeah, Trevor Lawrence is inconsistent, but how can he be consistent when no one else around him is consistent? The big headline out of this game is Travis Hunter coming on, catching his first touchdown. Liam Cohn even said after the game, some of the plays were designed to go to him. And with the Brian Thomas at Cease, I'm just wondering, you call up James Gladstone on the bye about Brian Thomas? This is not working. It's not a good fit. Not a good fit. If you think Brian Thomas, you can turn him back. And maybe all that stuff with Mac Jones and Brian Thomas last year, Cease, was really about Mac Jones and not about Brian Thomas. But if you think it was, you can bring that back out in him. Maybe you throw a first-round pick Jacksonville's way, because I think this is the Travis Hunter era now. The thrill is gone. Giammi Brown gets a little banged up. Tim Patrick gets hurt. So, the bye's coming at a good time. But Parker Washington, I mean, this is who they're going to be counting on. Lot of questions here, including the running game, Travis Etienne. So yeah, this is not a fun European vacation for the Jags.
Yeah, not a fun European vacation. Is it fun? Well, I'm going to ask a dumb question. Is it fun in New Orleans? Of course it's fun in New Orleans. Of course it is. Now, is it fun being a Saints fan? It's fun with the Bears. They're 4-2, 26-14, the final score over the 1-6 Saints. Spencer Rattler, 2 touchdowns, 3 INTs, 233 yards. It was Alvin Kamara with 28 yards on the ground. He's just not the same. Chris Olave, we're totally not trading him for those price tags. 5 for 98 and 2 touchdowns. Juwan Johnson, 5 for 79 in this one. Rashid Shaheed, 4 for 40. So, yeah, Rattler with those 3 picks. I mean, I guess they're not going to Tyler Shuck. Did you see the I don't know who it was. It was one of our friends, I believe, on Twitter that was like, this is what happens when you ask for a fully guaranteed contract. You're just, teams aren't going to look at you. So Tyler Shuck, is he up next, or the Saints just going to keep rolling for disaster with Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, it was a tale of like 3 games for Rattler. New Orleans comes out, fumble, a punt, they get an interception, they miss a field goal, a punt, they get stopped on 4th down, and then finally he airs it out to Chris Olave for a touchdown right before halftime. On the other side of halftime, another touchdown to Chris Olave. We're back in it. Hey, Spencer Rattler can play, Spencer Rattler can hang. Juwan Johnson's getting more involved, and then a ball that looks like he was trying to throw away, an interception. You know, these kinds of things. 4 turnovers. Kendry Miller was hurt in this one also. Yeah, good for Alvin Kamara. Well, in this offense, you know, I mean, that's the problem. You would think in Chicago you can establish the run. No. I mean, in some ways, this is an ideal campaign for a top 2, top 3 draft pick because they're competitive. They're not embarrassing. These aren't scarring losses. These are losses where with the roster they have, even Spencer Rattler is showing he can hang on an NFL field. But with this roster, with the limited abilities that he has, this team just cannot be competitive. So next week, we're going to see New Orleans face Tampa Bay. And we're going to wonder, will Kamara get traded? Will Shaheed get traded? Will Chris Olave get traded? This team is at a crossroads. Who's going to be going forward with them? Who's going to be sent off?
Now it just got me thinking of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Meet me at the crossroads. Caleb Williams, 15 of 26, 172 yards, no touchdowns, 1 INT. Yeah, but you're winning like this was 20-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, baby. 19 for 124. I guess DeAndre Swift is okay. 1 rushing touchdown for Swift, but Kyle Monangai, 13 for 81 and a rushing touchdown there as well. So yeah, why throw it when it just works so well with 222 yards on the ground as a team? My God. Amazing. DJ Moore, 3 for 43 in this one. Roma Dunze, 2 for 31. Luther Burden, 1 for 22. Colson Loveland, 3 for 24. So, yeah, and both Swift and Montague had a few catches, couple catches each. So, yeah, Bears, wrap it up. Win this one at home. Run the ball.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Do we have a new blueprint for a Bears win? Not as much on Caleb Williams, who, again, is kind of inconsistent, not taking the plays from the whiteboard to the field the way that Jared Goff does, not yet at least. And you see Kyle Monangai really emerging as a second threat here out of the backfield. He had 32 carries, 32 rush attempts to 26 passes. So that's the blueprint we're looking for here. It makes Monangai in these kinds of matchups where they're favored a what the heck flex, and obviously you can see the upside if Swift were to go down. It's great also out of the bye, seeing what they can do with Swift, getting him more in space, getting him more on outside runs, and you really saw them wanting to get Swift in the end zone. The passing game, again, not doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Cole Kmet goes out in this one too, by the way. So you think in games they can control, they can do this. Now next week they have to go to Baltimore. If Lamar Jackson is back, we may see the limits of what Caleb Williams can do. But if Lamar Jackson's not, expect a repeat against a weak Baltimore run defense.
Yeah, expect changes in Miami. And this time I'm not talking about the head coach, although that will be changing quickly enough for Mike McDaniel. All right, Tua Tagovailoa, 31-6. The Browns get their second win of the year. They're 2-5. They go over the Dolphins, who are 1-6. Tua tosses 3 INTs and goes 12 of 23 for 100 yards. Quinn Ewers comes in, goes 5 of 8 for 53 yards. Okay. Devon Achane, 13 for 82 in this one on the ground. D. Eskridge, 2 for 45. Malik Washington, 5 catches for 30 yards. And no one else is really worth mentioning here, no matter who you played from the Dolphins. Jalen Waddle, 1 for 15. So, yeah, I think they have a McDaniel problem. And obviously they have a Tua problem.
Yeah, just problems. Problemos. First of all, we're getting to that time of the year now. I mean, down here in New Orleans, it's still like 86 degrees or something. But the wind, the storm, the rain, and we saw that reports as early as Thursday. And sure enough, the passing games really didn't have much to say in the outcome of this one. That being said, Tua just looked like he was giving up. See, some of these interceptions look like cries for help. It looked like I want out, or I don't care anymore, or I don't even know what. There was one at the back of the end zone where he threw it, and like 3 different guys could have intercepted it from his own end zone. It's not just weather. Darren Waller goes out hurt in this one. A pick 6 to Tyson Campbell. Sees how often do you see a player traded to the Browns happy? That's what you saw when Tyson Campbell was able to have a pick 6. Devin Achane ran the ball well, but can he survive this team swirling down the drain? Because in week 1, we saw a listless team. We saw a team that looked like they didn't even want to be out there playing. And then for 5 weeks, the Dolphins had various levels of competitiveness, even won a game or 2. Now we're all the way back to listless. And some of that is the coach. We've been seeing finger pointing or not being willing to point fingers or saying maybe there doesn't even need to be any fingers pointed. It's over. It's over. And then the question is, how much is that going to affect the offense? See, so we saw Quinn Ewers. Would you have week 7 on your Quinn Ewers bingo card? We saw Quinn Ewers in this game. Are we going to see Quinn Ewers more? Jalen Waddle left after a hard hit. Hopefully he got him out of the lineup because of the weather. There's rumors about Jalen Waddle getting traded. There's rumors about Devin Achane getting traded. And there isn't even any kind of confirmation that they're available. I almost think this is people just wishing, especially for Achane, to get out of there, to end up somewhere in a culture, in a team where his talents, forget about fantasy football, just his talents as a winner. Next week, they go to Atlanta. So, yeah, don't expect it to get any better.
Yeah, expect, something. And now you've just got me thinking about propaganda, because that's what it is. If I'm a player, I just go to my agent and say, hey, say people are interested in me.
Yeah.
And then the agent goes to Tom Pelissero. Sorry, Tom, but like
Tony Pauline.
Yeah. Anybody.
He reported this week that Seattle would trade for Achane, would send Reek Woolen if the Dolphins would be interested in trading him. There's no sign whether they are. That's still smoke. I know a lot of people saying Tony Pauline. Look, Tony Pauline, we've learned a lot from him over the years.
OG. Yeah, OG.
So we may not be able to pinpoint exactly what the smoke is, but there is smoke whenever someone like Tony Pauline takes that to the media. And what it is maybe Achane's agent knows he should be trying to get out.
Did you know that the Roger Vick pick, the oh no?
Yeah.
Did you know that was Tony?
Oh, wow.
So I was standing on the sidelines. You're getting story time, Cecil, because the Broncos won in an amazing fashion. So I was standing on the sidelines talking to Tony last year at the Shrine Bowl, and we're not watching Shadur Sanders practice because he wasn't going to practice. And he's like, yeah, the oh no thing, because we're talking about the Jets, right? Radio City Music Hall. And he's like, the oh no thing, that was me. So a young Tony Pauline, before he was in the media, Jets fan, crazy. And they pick Vic and he goes, oh no.
Right.
And you can hear it on the cameras. Yeah, that's our buddy Tony. So.
And still to this day, Jets fans are saying, oh, no. Too bad we can't transition to that, but we can transition to Quinson Judkins. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. With the 3 touchdowns, Bloom, you're a professional. 3 touchdowns for Judkins, 25 carries, 84 yards. Harold Fannin, 4 for 36 on the day. Jerry Jeudy with 2 for 17. But Dylan Gabriel gets his first win, going 13-18 for 116 yards. And yeah, I mean, it's Cleveland, but as long as they got Judkins, just hand him the rock.
Yeah, and 46 yards on one of the touchdowns. So really, the Dolphins held Judkins down in this game. They knew that was basically all the Browns had. But in games where the Browns defense can control the game, then Judkins is going to get this kind of opportunity, get short fields. That's not going to happen next week against Drake May.
Not going to happen, that's for sure. And not going to happen, there's Drake May and the Tennessee Titans. We're going to talk about that game coming up next here on the Audible. 20 years of hearing me eat into a microphone. So I apologize, everybody. I eat on time and I'm late.
It's like smelling a dog's butt. It's like, oh, what's that chew? Is he eating? A candy bar? No, wait, is that some protein? What is he? Let's all play. What is Cecil eating?
No, it's protein. Trust me, after the hot tamales and Domino's binge that I've been on recently after my race, I'm definitely getting back on plan. But getting back on plan with Drake May, 31-13. They are 5-2. The Titans are 1-6. Drake May, a Josh Dobbs game. Again, rich man, poor man. Josh Dobbs came in. Oh, it's because you're crushing them. So here comes Josh Dobbs. But before that, Drake May, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 222 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, 18 for 88 and 1 rushing touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 7 for 69. Nice. Keyshawn Butte, 2 for 55. Did you see his comments after the game? We took advantage of lazy corner and safety play.
Yeah.
Okay. Austin Hoopa with a touchdown. Nobody started him. You started Hunter Henry. You got 4 catches, 33 yards. And the lament of fantasy GMs everywhere is Trevion Henderson will never get the ball.
No. First of all, headline again, Drake May, just based on this year. Okay. And I'm not even talking about fantasy, although I think it applies for fantasy. One of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league. And every week, different players taking turns. Ramondre Stevenson actually got a lot of carries early, getting 7, 8, 13 yards. Looked really good running the ball early against Tennessee. He ends up getting a rushing touchdown. Drake May finding Keyshawn Boutte for another touchdown. So at the very least, he's a perpetual what the heck flex, but you can see as touchdown. They stalled out in the red zone and they had to get a field goal and they punted. And then the next 3 drives, touchdowns. You did see May get folded up kind of on a run, went to the medical tent, and Josh Dobbs made a play when he was out there. And then May comes back in. There was a really wow catch from Demario Douglas over the middle in the red zone, setting up the Stevenson touchdown. Diggs gets enough. He had a ceiling game in week 4, week 5, a floor game last week. He was right in between this week, showing you, hey, he's a wide receiver 3 flex. Also, Trevion Henderson, I just think, the problem isn't even that the team isn't giving him the opportunity. It's that he hasn't done anything to make us stand on the table and say he deserves it.
Right.
So that's where we are with Henderson. We're the point you need Stevenson for him to matter. You need Stevenson to go down. And even if that happens, I don't know if he would matter. I don't know how that would go because he just hasn't popped. See, if we'd said Drake May is one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league, the Patriots are absolutely a playoff contender, maybe even a spoiler on the road in the first week of the play, maybe even pushing the Bills for the division this year. You'd say, oh man, Trevion Henderson must be a big part of it. Nothing. He's not part of it at all. Patriots fans didn't care.
Yeah, well, I know in Fessel Alpha, I got Ramondre because I wanted Trevion. I think you got him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, damn it. I guess I'll take Ramondre. I guess I'll take it all the way to 3-3. I don't know if I'll win this week. Anyway, do we have to talk about the Titans?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'll leave that one to you.
Sure. It was the first week without Brian Callahan. Well, we're always interested. Like the first week they still have the same play caller, Bo Hardegree. And what did we see this week? A lot of the rookies. And this was actually an interesting back and forth game in the first half. There were only 2 drives in the first half that didn't end in points, except for the Titans getting the ball back with like 15 seconds left in the half or something. And what did we see? Gunnar Helm and Alec Eomanor helping get to a field goal. And then Cam Ward in a really quick drive, like a 4-play drive. Kimray Dike out of Florida. He's getting opportunity with Calvin Ridley out. He has a 37-yard touchdown, had a catch to set up the 37-yard touchdown. Then you saw Gunnar Helm and Van Jefferson, not a rookie, but you saw these players stepping up. Another field goal, 13 points in the first half, 13 points, and it wasn't against a garbage time defense. And then in the second half, Cam Ward drops back, and K'Lavon Chason, and then Bill Belichick smiling somewhere saying they're rehabilitating a first-round pick. A former first-round pick is doing stuff for us. The ghost of Bill Belichick says that's my kind of move. K'Lavon Chason was closing in on him, and he just lost the ball, just kind of puked the ball up. Like, and then it just seemed like the whole team gave up after that play. Chason gets the ball and goes in for a touchdown. It was 31-13 at that point. It ended 31-13 because both teams were just kind of like, okay, well, that's game. Jeffrey Simmons goes down here. So the best defensive player for Tennessee, the best defensive player for most teams probably, he goes down. And Tony Pollard gets, what about the backfield? Tony Pollard gets the catches this week. So there's not any fun fantasy outtakes here, but 25-34, getting the rookies involved. Let's see if they can build on it against Indianapolis next week.
Let's see how the Chiefs get back in this thing as they're now 4-3, 31-0 over the Vegas Raiders. Kenny Pickett came into the game because Geno Smith had 67 yards passing. Ashton Genty, Pete Carroll just said, I wrote about it in our newsletter. Pete Carroll's like, we're going to give Genty, he's got to get 20 carries every single week, and then 6 carries, 21 yards. All right. I mean, it's 21-0 at halftime. It's 31-0 at the end of the game. But, I mean, what are they doing? I don't even want to go through the box score with the Vegas Raiders. It's like, if you're not feeding Genty, the hell's going on, bro?
Yeah, this game was this was an embarrassing game, like a truly embarrassing game. There was a point in this game that it was 29-2 in first downs. I think the stat everyone was putting around was 30 first downs for the Chiefs and 30 plays for the Raiders. Yeah. And you go into the bye like this, like you go into the bye getting paddled, humiliated in a game where oftentimes the Raiders will play above their head against the Chiefs. So what do you do with this, right? Is we going to see Kenny Pickett after the bye? Let's see. Max Crosby gets hurt. Those are these bad teams, and then your best defensive player goes down. Where does that leave you? Okay. There was nothing to speak of here. I suppose Chip Kelly, go back to the drawing board. That's not working out. Go back to the drawing board and make an Ashton Genty-centric offense. Brock Bowers will be back. But as far as who can do something for fantasy in this game where we knew that was a mismatch, the answer was nobody.
Nobody, buddy. Although we knew Rashee Rice, the return. 2 touchdowns, 7 catches, 42 yards. Travis Kelce's 3 for 54. Rashard Smith, 5 for 42. Let's put a pin in that. Hollywood Brown with a touchdown there as well. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 for 57 on a rushing touchdown. Rashard Smith did get 14 carries, 39 yards. So 2.8 a clip, needs to improve. Pat Mahomes, 286, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. Is it true, the clip I saw, where they're trying to draw him off sides like this never flipping works?
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe.
They fell for it.
They ran the play.
They fell for the banana and the tail.
Yeah, with the AI and deep fake, I'm always like, is that real? He didn't quite sound like Kermit the Frog, so is that real? Mana. All right, let's talk about Mahomes and company. Mana.
We need more of that. Never forget going to see the Muppet movie in the theater as a kid. It was just too easy. It was just too easy there was more there. It was just too easy. Patrick Mahomes, most valuable fantasy quarterback. First and 20, there was a penalty, 44 yards to Kelsey, and then they leave Noah Gray and alone for a 28. And you could really see first and goal went to Pacheco, second play went to Rice. So there was a lot of emphasis on getting the ball to Rice, a goal to go, and he converted on 2 of them. But know that this team is talking about everybody eats. I think the Bills were the first one to use that in reference to last year's offense. So this week was kind of ceremonial. Let's get Rashee Rice's touchdowns. But notice, it wasn't like he was breaking free for big gains. But notice also Xavier Worthy more in the background now. Marquise Brown gets a touchdown, but he's not a mainstay in the pass offense. Tyquan Thornton gets 1 deep catch, but that's going to hold down Worthy. You have all of these guys contributing. Juju Smith-Schuster contributing. So this is easy. It was demoralizing for the Raiders to try to slow them down. And then you see Kareem Hunt get a little banged up in this one, comes back in the game. But as the door opened for Rashard Smith, his rushes came when the game was over. Okay, so don't assume that he got the big opportunity this week. He's still getting the big opportunity in the passing game. He's been getting that every week. Isaiah Pacheco did okay, got a touchdown, ran hard. I did see one trade deadline report that they're not in the market for a running back. Does that something about Pacheco, something about Smith, something like who even cares? Because it's the Mahomes offense. Either way, they're going to play Washington on Monday night next week in a game that looked like it was going to be good, but more on that later.
Yeah, more on that in just a little bit. Philadelphia is the next game up against Minnesota. After dropping a couple, Philly's back. 28-22, the final score. They're 5-2. The Vikings are 3-3. Jalen Hurts, speaking of 3, goes 3 touchdowns, 326 yards on the day. Also, Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper, 9 for 183 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 4 for 121 and 2 touchdowns. He's not going to be on Twitter now. At least he's not going to be upset on Twitter. Dallas Goedert, only 3 for 18. Saquon, 18 for 44. And then Hurts with negative 10 yards rushing. But either way, here we go. Eagles back on track with this win.
Cease, is there a quarterback in the NFL that transmits placidity more than Jalen Hurts? Just
placidity or placidity,
right? Just did I make up a word? Just that even keel. Just such an even keel to the point where against the Giants, you were thinking like, where's some emotion? Where he seems discouraged. And this was a game where you do see them go right out. Hurts to A.J. Brown. And then Carson Wentz throws a pick 6. Spoiler alert. Carson Wentz throws a pick 6 to Jalix Hunt. And you thought, great. It's 14-3. this team's going to be able to go into a shell. And this is what we've seen most weeks from the Eagles. No, just the opposite. In the second half, you see Hurts to Smith from 79 yards. You see more barnstorming throwing downfield to A.J. Brown on fourth down. Like you love seeing like 4th and 3 and you throw a 40-yard touchdown. And that's not a 35 yards of that running after the catch. That's a deep shot. So Jalen Hurts is saying, relax. Jalen Hurts is saying, we can do this. We saw the Rams game where they had to pass downfield to win, and they did. In this game, they didn't have to, but they dial it up, and they did. Now, Saquon Barkley's still getting stacked up. It's going to come around. I mean, if the deep passing game is loosening everything up, it is going to come around. He got banged up in this one, a little shoulder. Let's watch practice reports. Dallas Goedert didn't do much. Okay, he scored 4 straight games. So maybe Dallas Goedert not scoring is a sign that the petals are opening on this flower of this offense. They do have a banged up offensive line. We saw Cam Jurgens get banged up in this one. But this feels like, okay, we're not as worried about the offense now, just in time for the rematch with the Giants.
And away we go. On the Minnesota side, are we done with Carson Wentz? Because JJ was the 3rd quarterback today. Is that right? I think I wrote about that on Thursday. As Carson Wentz still going to get one more start. 313, no touchdowns. 2 picks, in fact. But Jordan Addison got 9 for 128. Justin Jefferson got 5 for 79, 22 targets between those two. TJ Hawkinson, 6 for 43 in this one, 9 targets for him. And then Jordan Mason, 15 for 57 and 1 rushing touchdown, but they fall short in this one at home to fall to 500.
You asked the right question, Cecil, because the Vikings do play on Thursday. So if JJ McCarthy wasn't ready to play on a Sunday, I doubt they're going to put him back out there on the following Thursday against the Chargers. Probably not. But after this game, you're seeing the limitations of Carson Wentz. Now, we may look back and say, still compared to Wentz, McCarthy puts more limitations on the pass offense or more limitations on the team's chances to win. But what did we see this week? 5 field goals. You can't beat Philadelphia if you're settling for 5 field goals. You just can't. A pick 6. You can't beat Philadelphia if you give them a touchdown. Jalix Hunt dropping into coverage as an outside linebacker, more of an edge rusher. Wentz just didn't read him. And then there was the classic Carson Wentz cease. I know you remember this from the good old days. It's 2nd and 25. Don't let Carson throw deep. Don't call one of those plays because he's going to do something like he did in this one when he throws into double coverage, a floater, easy interception. And you can't afford those kinds of mistakes. Now, Wentz was still gunning downfield. Jordan Addison involved. Justin Jefferson, not a big game. Quinyon Mitchell rallied from his hamstring injury, but still good enough. TJ Hawkinson, good enough. Jordan Mason did get a touchdown, the 1 touchdown for this offense after a Xavier Scott drive, actually. But not a lot of show for the passing yardage. Philadelphia's defense rebound a little bit after what happened to them against the Giants. Again, they're going to get to be tested by those Giants. More on that later. But Minnesota has to turn around, play the Chargers, a team that's also smarting in their own right. Is this Carson Wentz's last stand?
Yeah, last stand. And what's going on? I love this because I love the tinfoil hat. Are the Eagles just playing it cool for the first half of the season?
Right. And again, the
there are many stories during the season, Bloom.
Yeah, and that Jalen Hurts is a dude who has seen many, many times in his career when people were saying, like, it's over. Tua just took over. It's over. He's a backup. Right. It's over. Right. He had to transfer to Oklahoma. It's over. He went to the 2nd round. It's over. Jug Peterson's ruining this team. Like, he's had to hear this so many times. He only got to that Super Bowl, and boy, if he hadn't lost that fumble for that touchdown, maybe they could have won. He may never get back. And then they get back and they win handily. So, yeah, I think that Jalen Hurts is the kind of guy we can trust that don't get too upset on the downs because he's keeping it on the cool level.
On the cool, right? What's the definition of the next game? Carolina and the Jets. Maybe skipping the Jets side, but let's talk about Carolina winning 13-6. Jets are 0-7. Panthers are 4-3. Bryce Young, 138, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Xavier Legette gets the touchdown, 9 for 92. Tedero McMillan gets 3 for 33 in this one. Chuba Hubbard returned, and they said, hey, they're going to work both backs. They did. 17 for 79 for Rico Dowdle. 14 for 31 for Chuba Hubbard. Chuba also gets 2 catches, 24 yards. Dowdle gets a catch for 17 there. So Panthers get the one. It's ugly. It's low scoring, but we get some more data points here, at least on those running backs.
And it's a winning streak. It's a 3-game winning streak,
Sure.
Bryce Young goes out with an ankle injury. So that's going to be something to watch as Carolina has to play Buffalo next week. And Andy Dalton, actually, that's one of the names you want to hear if the starting quarterback goes down and you're a fan. Andy Dalton comes in and does what he needs to do, makes some passes. Jalen Coker. Oh, I love Jalen Coker. I was trading for him, picking him up, put him in some lineups. Boy, Jalen Coker, Jordan Winnington. You don't care about my team. Made some bad choices today. But the idea that someone was going to break out from this pass offense today with Sauce Gardner, who did leave with a concussion. So next week, Jets play Cincinnati. Oh, boy, playing Joe Flacco and those receivers without Sauce Gardner. Yeah, let's watch concussion protocol for Gardner. But you knew that Gardner, it was in the fourth quarter. Gardner was going to lock up Tedero McMillan. And it was a Xavier Legette with the big game. And know that it wasn't just that he got the touchdown from Bryce Young. When Andy Dalton needed to make some plays to salt this game away, he went to Xavier Legette. So we're going to be talking about him on the waiver wire show, and know that it doesn't really matter who the starter is. Didn't matter who the starter was at running back either. Look at that transition. Chuba Hubbard gets the start, but Rico Dowdle gets more touches. Rico Dowdle's better. Rico Dowdle's the one we want in our lineup. Hubbard, probably you're going to need just a better offense. But the Jets defense is back too, by the way. Cecil, you called it. You said, hey, the Jets defense was playing hard for their coach. So the problems for the Jets are not right now on the defensive side of the ball. They did stuff Rico Dowdle on a fourth down. But here's the thing, Dave Canales, good on you. They go for 4 fourth downs on the day. They make 3 of them. Dave Canales shelled up after that stop in the first half. Then because it's the Jets, right? You don't have to take those kinds of chances against the Jets,
right?
But it's showing you believe in your team, you believe in your quarterback, you believe. Rico Dowdle converted a fourth down later on after he got stuffed on one, so you like seeing that. You like seeing that this team has confidence. Now let's see with Andy Dalton or Bryce Young what they're doing against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trade for everybody. Trade
for
Breece Hall. Trade for Garrett Wilson. Like, just get Justin Fields will never play again. Like, I feel so bad for Chase Stewart, who is our dear friend and longtime Jets fan, long-suffering Jets fan. Still does his thing on Twitter at FBG Chase. Great data and information from Chase as always. What do we say about the Jets, man?
Yeah, well, we just say that poor Aaron Glenn. I mean, the best thing I can say is, as a winless team, you got the inside track to the number 1 pick. That's the best thing I can say. But you saw, here's how these things went, right? The first drive ends with a Fields incompletion on fourth down. The second drive ends with a Fields incompletion. The third drive, well, Fields did contribute drawing a roughing the passer call to help set up a field goal. Okay. Then the next drive ended when he ran and was stopped short of the first down. And then he passed short of the first down. And then at that point, I guess Aaron Glenn had seen enough. Last week, he was asked about, did you think about benching Justin Fields? What kind of question is that? You know better than that. I mean, and I understand, and since we talked about this, Aaron Glenn just, I think, is hurt on behalf of his quarterback, seeing that Justin Fields is just not developing. And I think there's probably a connection there. It's like a child watching a child fail of what they've invested, including $10 million guaranteed next year to Justin Fields. But you can't do this when you don't have a functional pass offense, especially without Garrett Wilson. So again, Joe Flacco and that last victory tour, probably another victory against the Jets next week.
All right. I will not belabor this. Although I know, everybody knows, it is a Broncos show. I don't know if I've ever seen a crazier finish to a game. The Broncos are down 19-0 entering the fourth quarter. There's like 4 minutes left. And they win 33-32 in regulation. The Giants are 2-5. The Broncos are 5-2. Let's talk about Jackson Dart, his chain, his dance. 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, 283 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, very tough for Jaquan McMillan to stop him. 6 catches, 95 yards. Daniel Bellinger, you'll notice the theme. They can't stop tight ends. 3 for 88 and a touchdown for Daniel Bellinger. 3 for 66 and a touchdown for Theo Johnson. Cam Scatterboo, 16 for 60 on the ground. Then also 3 catches, 34 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. Then you had a Tyrone Tracy, just like wide open 31-yard touchdown. 46 yards rushing on the day. Scatterboo had 60 yards on the ground. Jackson Dart with his own rushing touchdown. So a lot of F-bombs, a lot of emotion, a lot of dancing. but losing this game
Yeah,
in
somehow.
the way that they did,
Yeah.
just nuts.
Yeah, it was. Cease, you believe in Jackson Dart now?
He's Drew Lock with a chain.
I mean, he's a player.
Yeah,
He's not a fluke. He's not a joke. It's not some like, oh, the league doesn't have tape on him. He can play.
Yeah.
He can
Oh,
play.
he took it to the Broncos defense, and the Broncos defense is legit. And he
Right.
took it to him with, and I had, dinner with a couple guys that work for the Giants, and they were like, "Yeah, and best receiver we have is 5'8".
Right. That's the thing.
Bill Robinson.
They don't even have Darius Slayton right now. I mean, that's the thing. When you're making these big plays to Daniel Bellinger, like when you're getting 40-yard chunk plays to Daniel Bellinger, and Theo Johnson's fast, but still, like we said, Denver in the tight end, and Wan'Dale Robinson had a pretty good game. Scadaboo caught a touchdown. Like you said, the defense on the Tracy touchdown just looked like, was at the end of the game and they were letting them score to have time on the clock. Like it was that kind of touchdown. And, this was an incredibly emotional game for Denver. And we'll talk more about this, but it was an incredibly emotional game for Denver. And also there was this thought like, well, hey, Denver's defense, I mean, what have they given up so far this year? He's like 6 or 7 offensive touchdowns. Now they had
no points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, this was a defense that was like, okay, now we're going to really see Dart. Oh boy, we did. And he's got game, and he's got game for fantasy. He was an elite fantasy quarterback. Again, what's going to happen? Maybe they should be the ones calling, get Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. reunited. Right. So, we see Dart on the Broncos storm back. There's a point in this game, it was 26-8, and the Broncos had a 4th down. I believe their win percentage at that point, Cecil, was 0.7%.
Okay.
There's also a stat about teams up 18 points or more going into the fourth quarter, I think had never lost going into this game. So congratulations, Brian Dable. And I don't say congratulations, Jackson Dart, because he led the drive and scored the touchdown to put them ahead with 40 seconds left. And then Jude McAtamy, the kicker that's in their backup kicker, they were going to get Younghoe Koo, misses the extra point.
They're going to get him this week.
Yeah, right. And see, we all can feel it, right? Like we can all feel it in these moments. You can always feel it whenever there was a ripple in the force. And when you miss that field goal, there is a ripple in the force. And the beautiful thing is
missed extra point.
I'm sorry, missed the extra point. Yes. And again, the Giants, they're 2-5, but this team
had 2 missed extra points today.
Right. And the Giants are 2-5, but this loss stung. I mean, they've graduated again. They're a buyer at the trade deadline, and not that they're talking about making the playoffs, just that they're like, we've got some stuff in place now. Let's start building. Let's not go backwards. Let's go forwards. And this loss really stung for them, which shows to me great progress as a franchise. And a lot of it, I think, is feeding off of Jackson Dart, feeding off of Cam Scadaboo, and feeding off of Abdul Carter. But Cease, did Jackson Dart help Bo Nix find the Jackson Dart inside of him today?
And did Sean Payton, because on that Jackson Dart touchdown where he dove in, there was a pass interference call, and you can call interference every time. I thought it was like let him play against Riley Moss, and so they get it down at the 3. Sean Payton runs down to the officials and is on the field like yelling at the officials. They throw a flag on him. Now it's at the 1. Now, I do love myself a good conspiracy theory, and I love it. I have several tinfoil hats, and I just think that critical thinking is something we all should do. I know Sean Payton. I know Sean Payton does everything on purpose. Did he do that so he'd get that flag? They'd go half the distance to the goal, and then it's easy, like fall in touchdown, so that the Broncos could get the ball back with 40 seconds and then drive down for a Will Lutz field goal. But Bo Nix feeling it for them things for Bo Nix today. 4 touchdowns. Let's go over it all. 279, 2 touchdowns passing for Bo Nix. And you saw Troy Franklin get one of those things, 3 for 19 and a touch, couple of overthrows is what we're calling them. RJ Harvey had a receiving touchdown. He's also out of place and didn't know where to line up a couple of times. I did ask Sean Payton, are you happy with RJ Harvey? On record, he told me last week, yes. Harvey got a touchdown this week. I don't know if the volume's going to be there until the kid picks up the playbook. Evan Ingram, 5 for 42, big one at the end, staying inbounds, get more yardage for this team. Marvin Mims fighting fighting 6 for 85 in this one. And one of those passes wasn't even to him. He just happened to be there, turned around and caught it since Court was like falling to the ground. Court 6 for 87, not 88. I know some Broncos fans like he got 88 for, they honored Demaryius Thomas today. Entering the Broncos Ring of Fame. They honored the Super Bowl 50 team. So I think 40 of the players on that roster were back, including my man CJ Anderson. I have not yet gone bowling with him, but anyway, so it's like, okay, all of this emotion, all of this day, you can't lose like this. And they said no. And Bo Nix, clutch gene. They're down against the Eagles in the fourth quarter. They win the game. They're down 19-0 in the fourth quarter. And they win it 33-32. Amazing.
Yeah, and see, this was a game that in my notes, as I was watching this game in the first half, into the third quarter, I was going to start with, is it time to be really worried about this offense? Is it time for us to say, like, we have to hit the panic button on this offense because this is just not acceptable? And 33 points in the fourth quarter. And you wonder, you see these quarterbacks, you see these quarterbacks that will look really mechanical in the regular offense, and then once it's a 2-minute drill, it's like, well, why don't they just do that? Build a whole plane out of the right. And in this case with Bo Nix in these games, it's also like when he has to make a play, when like they're going to lose unless he makes a play. That is bringing it out in him. That brought it out in him against the Eagles. It brought it out in him today, and you saw it get going with a touchdown to his college teammate Troy Franklin. And again, like, what is Sean Payton going to think about this? Like 50 passes. Is it really I mean, J.K. Dobbins ran the ball pretty well, but is it a bad thing to have Bo Nix be the center of the offense? And is it a bad thing for him to go out there and feel like, hey, the game's going to be on my shoulders? Because it seems like that brings out the best in him. Cortland Sutton making plays downfield. Marvin Mims making plays downfield. 2-point conversions. 2-point conversions that didn't seem like, it's like, oh, you play it by the book. You look at the sheet says you're down 26-0, you go for 2. You make it down 26-14, you go for 2. You make it again. Now it's 26-23. Now you get the score. They didn't have to go for 2 on the third touchdown. And then again, they go ahead 30-26. Dart scores the touchdown, the missed extra point. And again, Demaryius Thomas. See, I heard it said about Demaryius Thomas, nobody in Denver has a bad word to say about him. Nobody. Nobody. And Cortland Sutton told a beautiful story. Go watch the clip so you can see how he smiles when he tells the story about when he was a rookie and Demaryius Thomas said, hey, rookie, every Saturday I bring donuts for everybody. Like, here's the place, here's the order. This is your job now. And that year, Thomas was traded to Houston. And Sutton just kept doing it. And then when Thomas left us early, transitioned in 2021, he said now it was really important for him to keep doing it because it keeps him around, keeps Demaryius Thomas around. And, Cease, if you go high enough up and you look at 33, it kind of looks like 88.
That's true. Plus, they scored 2 touchdowns and 2 2-point conversions. So there's their 8 and an 8. So, yeah, serendipity. It's a beautiful thing, everybody. It's a beautiful thing what the Colts are doing. My God. Break up the Colts. 38-24, the final score over the Chargers. Chargers are 4-3. Colts are 6-1. Number 1 seed in the AFC if the playoffs started today. Daniel Jones, 288, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. America loves a redemption story. Alec Pierce, 5 for 98. Tyler Warren, 4 for 69 and a touch. Michael Pittman, 7 for 58 and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 16 for 94 and 3 touchdowns. Unstoppable. And then 3 for 38 as a receiver out of the backfield. So pretty good combination when you have a quarterback playing efficient football and you got a guy like Jonathan Taylor that can just run roughshod over you.
Yeah, this offense just feels inevitable right now. Someone's going to get you. There's something you're not going to account for. Daniel Jones is playing MVP level football. And I'm not saying he should be the MVP. What I'm saying is the team is feeding off of him. He's feeding off of the team. It's all clicking right now. And for fantasy, we have to take stock of that. Where, again, Jonathan Taylor in any given week can give you that 3 touchdown game. And Daniel Jones is still a good fantasy quarterback. And now we have, at least for this week, a concentrated target tree where Michael Pittman's the automatic play, but Alec Pierce also a good play. Tyler Warren, a great play. Chargers defense, there was no match. There was just nothing. I mean, the good news when we get to the Chargers side is that meant that Justin Herbert had to, do everything he possibly could to bring this team back. And maybe we'll have to factor that in on next week against Tennessee. But, it's like one of the best things for a fantasy quarterback can be facing Indianapolis, because this team even got a Amir Abdullah kickoff return that set up one of the Taylor touchdowns. They're making plays on defense. They're making interceptions. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. This is a complete team. Just don't overlook Tennessee next week, because that feels like one of those classic trap games.
It's a trap. Okay, Chargers. What is it for you guys? Couple of picks for Justin Herbert, 420 yards though. There's a Colorado joke there somewhere. 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs. Arondé Gadsden, 7 for 164 and a touchdown. Oh my God. It's amazing. Keenan Allen, 11 for 119 and a touchdown. Ladd McConkey, 9 for 67. Quentin Johnston, 2 for 30, receiving touchdown there as well. Herbert goes 31 yards on the ground. Kamani Vidal had 20 yards rushing and then 15 yards receiving, 4 catches though. So yeah, some problems here with the Chargers. You got off to that hot start. Now sit not in first place of the AFC West, because that is the Broncos.
Yeah, the Chargers, Colts were threatening to run away with this game as Herbert was throwing some picks early, just pressing. Kamani Vidal not getting the chunk gains in the running game. They were having lots of problems. There's a few extended plays, one to Keenan Allen, but they were having a lot of trouble moving the ball in the first half. And then to try to make up the deficit, you did see Herbert moving the offense down the field, tons to Arondé Gadsden. Now we can see it doesn't even require a Quentin Johnston injury or an injury to a receiver for Gadsden to matter. And kudos to you, Cecil, because you've been beating the drum about Gadsden going back to the summer. And even though there was that game where he had those 5 catches against the Broncos in some key moments, it still took a little bit to see, like, this is what he's capable of. There was one play where he was held and then he still caught the ball and then just ran away from the defense for like a 50-yard catch. Ladd McConkey didn't have a massive game like Allen, and Gadsden still had a good game. There was a long touchdown that just got broken up, or he could have had a better game. Even Quentin Johnston got a touchdown. So that's the thing. Even in a losing effort, Herbert can be an elite fantasy quarterback. He can make Gadsden an elite play. He can make Keenan Allen an elite play. Ladd McConkey's a good play. Quentin Johnston's not a bad play. Okay, Kamani Vidal didn't do much, but if this much production is coming in this offense, it'll come for Vidal soon enough. Again, maybe Thursday night against Minnesota, both of those teams smarting, and it should be some points up on the board for that one too.
Yeah, a couple of games to go over, and we wrap up today's program. Dallas Cowboys 44, Washington Commanders 22, and problemas. Commanders are 3-4, Cowboys are 3-1. Stupid ties. Jaden Daniels hurt, and does it really matter when, Zach Ertz got a touchdown, but like you're going to Jalen Lane, Chris Moore, and Luke McCaffrey, who actually didn't score this week, which is kind of shocking. Bill, not doing a whole lot. Daniels did get a rushing touchdown for leaving with his injury. Of course, the passing touchdown. In comes Marcus Mariota. And how about a pick 6? So, yeah, lots of questions in Washington.
Oh, yeah. So this looked like it could be fun for a little bit, even though Deebo Samuel was ruled out of this game. So like you said, you are looking at Jaden Daniels, and what does he have? He has Chris Moore, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Zach Ertz. And he's kind of hanging around in the first half, and then he leaves with a hamstring injury. So they play on Monday night against Kansas City. I just don't see how it could be, if the hamstring is bad enough to rule him out for the game, it just cannot be wise to put him out on a football field, not when he is the franchise. Okay. They had a more balanced offense against Chicago, and we didn't see that balance in this one, even though Dallas's rush defense got pushed around. Jacory Cross-Merritt didn't do much, and the one garbage time touchdown that was there for Chris Rodriguez. You did have Jeremy McNichols making a few of those plays. It's perfect, by the way, that Jeremy, I'm going to say it. English is a language. I can speak it. Jeremy McNichols, he had a couple of plays, again, that's just determination plays. And this dude is only still in the NFL because of his determination. So that was kind of fun to see. You did see that you said the pick 6. Mariota was just trying. They were down like 3 touchdowns already. And then how bad was it? Robbie Chosen. He's back, everybody. and he's getting the box score and he's making things happen. That's how far they had to dig down to have just guys to run routes for this one. So yeah, Washington get the NFC Championship last year, next year. Well, it's kind of a harsh reality of the NFL, and it's going to get even harsher in Arrowhead.
Yeah, even harsher in Arrowhead. It's great to see CeeDee Lamb back out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, football's supposed to be fun, and without CeeDee Lamb, less fun. With CeeDee Lamb, more fun. 5 for 110 and a touchdown for CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott, 3 touchdowns on the day, 264 yards. George Pickens, 4 for 82. Jake Ferguson, 7 catches, 29 yards, 2 touchdowns. So there you go. Jake Ferguson, before this game, I wrote about this on Saturday on our Football Guys Newswire. Jake Ferguson, 44 receptions this year, are the most among tight ends and the third most ever at the position through the first 6 games. Jake Ferguson, right? We're not combining his name with Peyton Hendershot anymore.
No.
That was me. I'm sorry. Did I say Javonte? Javonte, 19 for 116, 1 rushing touchdown, and the Cowboys feeling themselves with a road game to Denver up next.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. CeeDee Lamb's back with an easy long touchdown early. 2 more touchdowns for Jake Ferguson. He's going to have the best yards per catch to touchdown ratio. I don't know if he's going to average like 7 yards a catch, but he's going to have like 15 touchdowns this year, the way that Dak Prescott is playing. Dak Prescott, everybody, a fantasy quarterback one. And just, again, this is one of those games where too bad Jaden Daniels didn't stay healthy in this game for any number of reasons, but who knows how many points this offense could put. It was 44. So in the 3 games that Dallas has had at home, he's 40, 40, and 44 now. The opponent just couldn't keep up this time. Like you said, maybe Denver. Well, Bo Nix is going to be fun in a game. Like we said, let's put it on Bo Nix's shoulders. Well, it's going to have to be on his shoulders to keep up with Dak next week.
Yeah, going to be a fun one, or possibly, that is for sure. Packers and Cardinals, and we have some Cardinals things to talk about. But first, let's talk about the Packers winning 4-1-1, stupid ties. 27-23, the final score. Cardinals are 2-5. Packers, again, 4-1-1. There's Jordan Love, 179, 1 touchdown, no INTs. Romeo Doubs, 6 for 72. Tucker Kraft, 5 for 58, and the receiving touchdown. Matthew Golden with 4 for 37, and then Josh Jacobs, 13 for 55, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So we went from, is Josh Jacobs going to play, to he got in the end zone twice. Yeah. Okay, you're good.
This game could be a game we look back on as very important for the Packers and for Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. Much like the Denver game, this game looked like a stalemate in the first half. Arizona's defense isn't bad, but I'm wondering what's up with this Packers offense. They should be able to do more, but then you start seeing it come together as the game goes on. Jacobs gets a touchdown, Tucker Kraft gets a touchdown. And then there's a 4th down, a big 4th down that Kraft converts with a push off, but hey, you learn those skills. And then, eventually Jacoby Brissett will talk about, this is a good back and forth game. Green Bay drives down last few minutes, 23-20, they're down 4th and 2, 4th and 3. And it looked like they were going to send out the field goal unit, instead decided to call timeout. And when they come back out, they're going to go for it. And Matt LaFleur said that he looked at how disappointed Jordan Love was. And he said, well, whatever we call it, he's going to make it work. He's going to make it work. That's important. That's important. And for it to work and then they get the win makes it even more important. So Golden was okay for fantasy. Romeo Doubs a little bit better. Again, Tucker Kraft got that big 4th down and got the touchdown. It wasn't a pretty win, but it was a road win in the NFL. It was a win where a team learned about themselves, and a team that learned not very good things about themselves this week. The Steelers, good old classic Packer Steelers next week.
Okay, and Arizona Cardinals. Should Jacoby Brissett stay as the starter?
Yes.
Oh, done.
Well, because the next thing you should say is, will he remain the starter?
Well, when you keep feeding Trey McBride, remember when Trey McBride didn't score touchdowns?
Right.
Oh, that's Kyler Murray. Trey with 10 for 74 and 2 touchdowns. Zay Jones, 2 for 67. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 for 58. Michael Wilson, 3 for 40. Bam Knight, 14 for 57 on the ground. It's Jacoby Brissett with 279, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, sacked 6 times. But this offense and Trey McBride run a lot better when Jacoby's out there and not Kyler. I think Kyler's injury might linger a little bit longer.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Jonathan Gannon says when healthy, he's the starter. So
yes.
Who gets to decide when he's healthy?
The team.
Yeah, right. And it's just kind of sad, Cecil, because watching Jacoby Brissett this last 2 weeks, he deserves to start somewhere. He has actually progressed as a quarterback since we first saw him. It was during Brady's suspension, right? Just a game manager. But that was when he was young. He can do more than that now. And he's activating parts of the playbook. He's activating parts of the passing game that Kyler Murray just can't. Great film, Awakenings, with Robin Williams, Robert De Niro. And it was a movie about these patients in the 60s that were catatonic. And then Robin Williams, the doctor that Robin Williams is playing, gives them L-Dopa, which is used for Parkinson's. And it brings them out of their catatonic state. Like their families come, they're like, you're back. Oh my gosh. And then Robin Williams realizes that it's going to wear off. It's not going to be permanent. And they're going to go back to being catatonic. I mean, that's Jacoby Brissett, right? That's this offense, right? Like Jacoby Brissett, we had a couple of weeks. They're going to their bye. We had a couple of weeks. What's funny is, again, Trey McBride scores 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks with Jacoby Brissett. So we know that the Trey McBride not scoring touchdowns thing is not a Trey McBride problem, okay? Not that it's not going to revert back to that. Now, there is a Marvin Harrison Jr. problem. He had a couple of big plays in this one, but so did Zay Jones, so did Michael Wilson. I mean, Jacoby Brissett can get all of these guys into play. See, when it's Kyler Murray, it's like, well, they've got to upgrade their wide receivers. They need somebody else other than Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride to help them. But then when it's Jacoby Brissett, they can move the ball against the Packers, even when Jacoby Brissett is taking all these big hits. Not much in the running game. Bam Knight is the play over Michael Carter at this point, but really you're probably not playing either of these guys. So, yeah, we'll see in week 9 whether Kyler Murray's healthy enough to play. But it's pretty sad when you're a fan of a team and you have to root for your starting quarterback to stay hurt.
Yeah, that is what.
See, can I jump in here too, by the way?
Sure, yeah.
I'm saving it for the end. I couldn't at the beginning. We found out news today that Doug Martin joined the ancestors. Doug Martin passed. I think he was like 36 or something. I mean, so many of these players are dying young. And we talk about how much players give mind, body, soul commitment. And I think that it is the special sauce of professional football, is this the complete sacrifice. And we're seeing what happens downstream now. And I hope that the players, because we could say NFLPA or owners, but life after football is hard. It's hard after everything you've endured emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, physically. And I just hope that the players can rally around each other, the former players, and maybe fans, maybe the ownership and the union don't care. Fans care, So I just really hate seeing that, because what makes it so exciting to watch football, what makes it so exciting to play fantasy football, so exciting to be with your fans of your team, go to the games, is how much the players give. But sometimes it seems like they give until there's just not anything left.
Yeah. I mean, we've done this show for 20 years. We should not be talking about Demaryius Thomas has passed away, Ronnie Hillman has passed away, Doug Martin has passed away,
Marion Barber,
Vincent Jackson. Like that was in our early days when we were talking about Vincent Jackson, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's one of those things. I always talk about it. There's great impermanence to everything.
Yeah.
So when you're enjoying what you like to enjoy, whatever that is, know that may not always be there. You know what I mean? So just enjoy it, like really soak it up, be part of that human experience. Put the damn phone down.
Yeah. Carl says
this.
Carl says Cedric Benson. That's another good one.
Right.
I mean, we could probably spend a while. I mean, so many. And I've said this on. Someone actually just quoted this in the chat room, like in the last week or two. But there's a Frank Zappa song that has a great steel guitar solo. Steel guitar hits me right in the feels every time. But the song is called One Shot Deal. It's on this great album Waka Waka, and the lyric is, "You can be scared when it gets too real, but you shall be digging it when it's happening, because it just might be a one-shot deal, like our Week 7 recap.
Amazing. He is Sigmund Bloom. I am Cecil Lammey. We are the Audible. Year 20. Drop a comment down below. Thank you all for watching the recap shows and all the shows during the week on our Football Guys YouTube channels, plural. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. He's Sig. I'm Cease. We are the Audible. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned. And would you please, as always, stay frosty.